Well, good evening, members of the general public that have streamed us via electronic media. We have 34 attendees that have logged on to our special public meeting, December 5th, 2023. I'd like to welcome members of council to the table. I would make a note that Councillor Aylward will be joining us via Teams electronically. Also like to recognize we have Mr. Maurice Hines in our public gallery. Welcome to the public gallery. You're welcome, sir. Like to recognize we have our town clerk and our newly appointed town manager, Mr. Jonathan Galgay. It'll be his first public meeting as the new CAO. Exciting times, exciting town, and an exciting job to have to move this town forward. I would ask a member of council that we move to accept the agenda as circulated.
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Tracy Boland, seconder.
Second.
Councillor, Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. The minutes from the previous meeting, will we carry them forward at the next public meeting? Okay, so we'll forego number 2 and number 3. Have we had any proclamations or delegations? Nothing. Okay. We will also forego our committee reports. They'll be taking place Monday coming before our last public meeting of the year, which will be December 14th. Okay, so we have one main item here that we have to put a motion to the table to speak on and vote on. So it'll be the sale of property for Minnesota Drive. And I'm going to turn it over to Lenny Tiller, who will actually chair the finance on that item.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everybody. Quick motion or business here this evening. Be it resolved that the town of Stephenville intends to sell 9.42 acres of vacant land at fair market value located on Minnesota Drive to GDR Enterprises Limited to accommodate clinic and office space family care team in compliance with Municipalities Act 201.2. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Lenny Tiller, seconder.
Awesome.
Second, Councillor Tracy Boland. Yeah, Tristan and T's hooked up here. I used to have a lot of mics on the last council.
Yeah.
Tobin, Mark Felix, a lot of M's, right? But anyways, any question on the sale of this property? Okay, I'll just speak a little bit for clarity on this property. Really good news for the town of Stephenville. The provincial government in their budget for 2023 put in an allocation of funding to build a new collaborative care clinic for the Stephenville, Bay St. George, Port-au-Port region. It is a significant tender. The building will come in under $15 million, but the total tender in the partnership agreement is in the tune of $40 million for a 20-year period. This shows a commitment by our provincial government to enhance assets, equipment, buildings to accommodate a challenging healthcare system in our province. When it comes to attracting or retaining doctors, nurses, specialists that work in these collaborative care clinics, having the right facilities with modern, innovative HVAC systems is critical in the retention and the recruitment. This is a very significant piece of land. It's in a perfect location adjacent to the Sir Thomas Roddick Hospital. This clinic will actually play a pivotal role in reducing the demand on our emergency department. And it's a new model that Health Services NL has rolled out, really beneficial. And what's really good for the town of Stephenville, it's a piece of asset that we own in the form of 9.42 acres that will sell at market value. So this is a good day. It's great. This company might be able to get started as soon as possible once permits come through the town of Stephenville and its management, because we may have a really easy winter, according to the weather reports, as an El Nino winter. And that could actually allow them to start heavy civil and all the requirements to get their grades done for that site. So, any other comments? Nope. Okay, on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Contrary, motion carried. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure all the nurses and doctors that are in town are going to be very grateful to actually eventually move from the Bay St. George Medical Clinic. We have done a lot of lobbying as a council over the last 2 to 3 years with government officials saying that the building that we had our doctors, nurses, specialists in as a clinic was substandard. It posed a lot of disability issues, and it was very challenging for not just the staff, but for the patients that went there. So this is a really good news story. Any bylaws and regulations? We do have some new bylaws that will be, I believe, at our next public meeting.
Yes, I think so.
Correct?
Yeah,
Yeah. How many did we complete? 9, was it?
9 or 10.
No.
Okay. Any unfinished business? Okay, new business. I've got a couple. First of all, I'd like to put out a huge thank you to the Public Works Department, Marissa. The town float was probably the best I think Stephenville ever had. There was a lot of innovation around fiber optics, and it was absolutely, people are stopping me steady, telling me how pleased they were with the parade. One thing that I'm speaking on the parade that was always a concern of mine, and maybe we could talk to the Bay St. George Kinsman Club for next year, is we have it at night. And having it at night, sometimes for businesses and people, it's a little easier. You get time off to do it. Having it at night, sometimes, you know, seeing something that's lit up probably looks a little bit better, but there is a safety issue with having it at night. And it's only, I believe, last year in Quebec that a young child fell off the float, was run over, and was killed. And maybe we could look at having it on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. You know, that's something that I really think from a council perspective that we need to talk about it. Remember, safety is critical. And it's something that I guess as we roll into next year and the Kinsman Club starts talking about the Santa Claus parade, we'll probably talk a little bit about it also.
Yeah, we might even argue about it because, you know, whether darkness was the only issue in that particular incident. I think the possibility of someone falling off a float and that happening is probably as likely 10 o'clock in the morning as it is in the evening, right? So I'm not sure that, you know, I'm kind of in support of the evening thing. I think the pros outweigh the cons, but I'll certainly be open to debate.
Well,
Sure.
I can throw something in there. What I found, it wasn't the children, it was the adults passing in between, going across the street, and they were crossing in between the floats. And I was really surprised at that, because, you know, that's the example, right? That we don't want the little kids to be watching, but they did. They didn't go up to a sidewalk, or they didn't wait. They just went through like that where I was standing.
And that happened.
And there was cars parked on the side of the road. So the little kids that couldn't see it, they were kind of coming out, trying to peep around the cars before they actually came down the street. That was 2 things that I had noticed there.
And maybe, you know, an enhanced safety thing is we could look at cordon with ropes on the sidewalks that actually controls people that they can't step out into the street.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something to help
Yeah.
increase to safety could be a really good measure that we can look at. And that's a very easy one to implement, right?
Mr. Mayor, I agree with you. I think the parade should be held in the day, in the daylight, because I don't think the children get the benefit of it at nighttime. I mean, I know it looks pretty with all the lights and all that, but St. George's and Stephenville Crossing and Cape St. George, that's 3 communities that I know of that have it in the day, and it works so beautifully. Everybody gets to see everybody, and I don't think that there's lighting is fine, but I don't think that the children get the benefit of it when it's held nighttime.
Yeah.
That's
One
my
of the
view
other,
on it.
one of the other things I've heard is, and I've experienced because I kind of live it. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. So their bedtime is 7 o'clock. Very challenging for young families to get toddlers out at 6:30, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, because it's kind of the bedtime too, So I think it's nice to talk about it. Let's talk about enhancing safety. And let's hope we have one as good next year as we had this year.
Absolutely, and I think, this is feedback we can certainly pass on to the kinsmen, but at the end of the day, it's their parade.
It
And
is
it's
their
the town where they're to support it, so, I think feedback is one thing, but I'm not sure that we're the ones who should really decide one way or the other on that piece of it.
Yeah.
Well, I know that it's their parade, yes, but I really think that we as a council should probably write them or have a meeting with them before the next parade to discuss things, because and Tom, you're right about the little children that they go, that that some of them are going down for the night. So, and and not only that, myself as a senior, I really wouldn't go to the parade nighttime. It's too dangerous. You're walking around, you don't know where you're going. Half the time you're going to trip. And but I think we should discuss it with them and see what their take is on it.
Yeah. So what we'll do next year, next fall before the parade, we'll bring in the Kinsman Club and probably the RSMP and our local ground search and rescue, and just talk about can we make changes? Does it make sense? Look at the pros and cons.
Right.
Sound good.
Yes.
Okay, so I've got one other item under new business that will be tabled at our next public meeting during budget time. And I'm looking forward to getting a great budget from the Finance Committee, so we can have some good discussion on it as we move forward into 2024. So a couple of things. One is we received a submission from the RFP on the Stephenville Industrial Facility. A very good proposal has come in. We're going to have management bring it to our next finance meeting. We'll discuss it and make the recommendations to accept it, I presume, and move it to our public meeting on December 14th. That'll give all council time. I know Deputy Mayor Stephenville, you have a copy. We want to ensure that all councilors take a look at the document that was submitted. So if you have any questions, you can bring it up at the finance meeting if you're on the finance committee. And if you have any questions, you'll have an opportunity to bring it up and question the RFP for the Stephenville Industrial Facility at the public meeting on December 14th. Everybody good with that? Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else from anybody? Have you got all your shopping done?
Just started.
Oh God, I managed to get to Shoppers Drug Mart and pick up a little Christmas gift on my way to the council meeting tonight. I'm really picking it up, eh?
What are you giving, drugs? Are you giving prescriptions?
I will bring up, but I need to ask first, the toy drive, the fire department, is that over yet? And they can drop off at the fire department? The fire department took it upon himself to do a toy drive. And you can drop your donations off at the fire department. There's a Christmas tree set up there, so if you can give,
It's on our
please do.
later. Yeah,
What's that?
I think it was posted on our town wellness.
Oh, yes, I'm just reminding
Yeah.
people, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a good cause as well. Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to mention was World Energy GH2. On Reuters, there came a news article that got circulated about a delay. And just for the record and for clarity for anybody that's listening and for council, is that there is no delay with the project in Stephenville with World Energy. It was the newspaper article kind of misrepresented some of the off-takers that's going to be purchasing ammonia from the different players in Newfoundland and Nova Scotia that has hydrogen developments happening. Remember, we are first off the mark with our project. Right now in the province, it's only World Energy that has submitted an EIS. It's been reviewed. It's been slow with a couple of time bars associated with it. But in addition to that, World Energy was slow with the change to the Crown Lands application. And that happened after they had submitted, and we had spoke many times about that. So for the record, we were looking at 2025 for shipping ammonia, and that was going to be late 2025. It could be early 2026. But for the offtake agreements that World Energy has, it is sound, and this is not jeopardizing anything with the project. And for the record, I just wanted to clearly say that sometimes newspaper articles can misrepresent all the facets of a project or the myriad of projects that's happening worldwide with the hydrogen. As we well know, there's hydrogen projects that are happening in Saudi Arabia. The other thing I want to say that I got to say it was really uplifting. It was to see so much support at the rally that took place for World Energy GH2. It was a grassroots rally where businesses, families, children, communities, regions came to Stephenville. Between 1,500 and 2,000 people showed up. It was wasn't a perfect day, but it was a bit of wind out there. So to me, that is a perfect day. We got a wind energy project coming. But it just showed that the support is here. The silent majority felt that the minority of people that are against it for the various reasons, and they have a role to play, and I've said that many times, they bring a heightened of due diligence to the project by asking questions. But from my perspective, a lot of the questions that they're asking really questions are being asked because they're not informed on what this project is. This is truly a game changer for the province. It will be a royalty regime on this, no different than the oil and gas sector. And we have truly become a global asset because everything that Stephenville has, from ports to airport, being in Canada, close to the markets, but the biggest checkbox, once again, was the wind, and that's what brought it here. This project is scaled as one of the biggest in the history of Atlantic Canada. So the 1,500 people that came out sent a very strong message to World Energy that we're behind them. They sent a very strong message to government that the majority wants this. And remember, government wants this. It's the government of the day that decided to lift the wind restriction and to allow wind development. That's very, very important. Their departments have to go through their due diligence. It is a significant project. It's the first for Newfoundland, but we've had first before. We've had the hydromet facility in Long Harbor. That passed through and went ahead. So I got to say that on LinkedIn, Gene Jabolis, one of the main investors out of World Energy, made a very, very positive post talking about how impressed he was that a small town in Stephenville, Newfoundland could stand up such a large majority for something that's so right. And he was very impressed because that rarely happens. So on that note, any other business? We could say Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I just probably should have pointed it out when you were talking about the sale of property for the clinic for the family care team, but I have heard a number of people express concerns that the government would look at this and the town would look at building a clinic when our hospital is underutilized and we should be putting people in there and so on. And perhaps people have some concerns that this is in some way going to replace or take away from the hospital. And from what I understand, that's nowhere the case at all. I mean, the hospital has a very, very important role here, and I think as a council, we recognize that. But there's also a very significant need for a modern, updated clinic here. And so this is not to pull attention away from the hospital or take away from the hospital, but in fact to enhance the hospital, which I think is going to become increasingly more important to us as we begin to grow and as we move more people into here and get into an industry again where there's requirements for safety and so on. We've got to have a hospital and a scaled up hospital. So I think this
Deputy
is.
Mayor Susan,
Yes.
I don't know who can say that our hospital is underutilized. I'd like for them to go in and spend a few days in there. We don't even have enough beds. With the people got to stay in the emergency room because there's no beds for them for days.
Okay, I'm thinking by underutilized, they may mean that that we don't have the services, as many services as we should have here.
Well, they don't know. We got everything here. We got mammograms. We got ultrasounds. You know, we got
All right,
everything.
got it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
So we got surgery and we got lots of doctors and we got everything happening here that needs to happen, is what you're saying.
No, I'm not saying that at
Hey,
all.
just
What I'm
saying.
saying is that our hospital we were the stroke center on the West Coast for the hospital. We got
Right.
pain management for the region. That's two things. We got a brand new mammogram. We got dialysis. We've got ultrasound technology. We got the most modern equipment that's on the go. We're better off than a lot of hospitals in this province when it comes to doctors, and that is the truth. We do need more, that's a given. We have 2 anesthesiologists, and they do pain clinics too. But there's a lot of people out there that don't have anything good to say about this hospital simply because they don't know what we have to offer. They don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, and Councillor Elwood, perhaps I didn't say it, maybe you heard it differently or I wasn't clear. I don't think any of that was a criticism of the hospital. I think it was a concern. If we're getting this big clinic, does that mean they're going to stop looking at our hospital and recognizing the need to upscale?
No, well, why would they do that? The new clinic is because they will have physicians and nurse practitioners and diabetic nurses and social workers and people all into one area instead of having in those old buildings that was left by the Americans.
Absolutely. We're saying the same thing here.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just for clarity to Councillor Aylward and Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, remember this collaborative care clinic is going to be an enhanced clinic that's going to replace the aging old World War II Bay St. George Medical Clinic.
Right.
Yes.
This will actually enhance the hospital and actually will take the pressure off our emergency department.
Right.
We have as many people walking through the doors of our emergency department as Western Memorial Hospital in Cornwall, just for the record. And number 2 is with the poised growth in Stephenville and what's happening, we are going to receive enhanced services and more staff. Currently, we have close to 20 doctors in Stephenville. There's some communities that had no doctors.
Yeah.
If you add up our GPs, our internists, our anesthetists, our surgeons, all of our specialty physicians that exist, we have in our region, our Stephenville, we have close to 20. We're in really, really good shape. But this project at $12 billion and the growth of Stephenville, is only going to enhance all services in Stephenville. So it's nice that we spoke about it and we got to let the 40 attendees know that's listening and they can tell their friends.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
so
for the benefit of anybody out there, our Tree of Love ceremony will be held on the 11th, which is Monday. And it will be held inside the hospital in the courtyard this year, and it starts at 7 o'clock. So anybody wanting to go in and in memory of their loved ones, that's when our Tree of Love is being held this year. And Mr. Mayor, I want to remind you about, we need that tree.
when do you want it?
Well, we need it this week.
You got
Like,
it. How
the
many
week-
feet
the-
tall? How
the-
many?
The week coming up, we need it before the 11th.
30 feet.
30 feet, 40 feet, 20
I
feet?
don't know what size the one was you did last year.
I'll tell you what, I'm getting a big one for the hospital.
Okay,
Gotta stand out.
I heard the
Yeah.
councillors are gonna hold up the tree for you, make sure it doesn't blow over.
Okay, I'll take care of that. I just want to say to, I know we do have one more meeting before Christmas, but we are into the Christmas season. And to everybody out there, remember, it's about, Christmas is sometimes a really tough time on individuals and families. And we all tend to take care of our families, sometimes our friends, but sometimes don't hesitate to step out to a stranger and do something and pay it forward or whatever you can do. Just say Merry Christmas to them. It can make a difference. So the spirit of Christmas is about sharing and giving and friends and family, but it's also about your community and the people that live here. So on that note, Merry Christmas, everybody. And I'd like somebody to move that we would adjourn the meeting.
Good night. Christmas.
Moved by Councilor Tracy Boland, second, Councilor Tristan Hewlin. All in favor?
aye.
Contramine.
Motion
No.
carries.